Hey, hi guys, welcome back after a long time. I was, uh, this video we are creating after a long time means almost 1.5 month or 2 months time. In between, I was stuck up in some other work and activities, so I could not create any more videos. But henceforth, I am going to try at least to create 2 videos a week. And those who are following my channel, they know my introduction, and they must have watched the videos. Then they know why should they watch it in a flow, and that is from start to end. Maybe it is a playlist, or maybe since I started the channel you can watch it since because it is in the flow. Whatever I am discussing over here is in the flow. So for those all people who are new to my channel, watching it for the first time, my name is Pranav Gandhi. This is my brief introduction. I work as a trainer and consultant. Total industry experience is 22 years. These are the various domains I have worked into in all these 22 years. I worked into software product development, healthcare industry, plastic product manufacturing, automobiles trading industry, insurance and banking, telecommunication, e-wallet development, and currently I am working as a trainer and consultant into data science with Python and R tools, right? And these are some of the certifications, academics. Okay, I am a engineering. I have done engineering in petrochemical, right? Then I did some software development related courses long back in late 90s, right? This is some of the other certification I have done to get into the finance industry. This is related to mutual funds and all. So uh, this means National Institute of Securities Management, and is this obviously from the one of the institute into data science. These are my all contact details, right? So obviously you're watching YouTube, so this is one medium to communicate with me. These are some of the other channels wherein you can get in touch with me through LinkedIn. This is my email ID, my Facebook page, and my WhatsApp number. So today we are going to discuss about the logistic regression. As I said that everything is in flow. So wait a moment, let me close down my webcam. It has, yeah, all right. So today we are going to discuss about logistic regression, and this video will be in the link, or the link for this video will be provided into the playlist of the regression analysis, for which I have already created a few videos for simple linear regression, what is regression, multiple linear regression, right? And this is probably I think is my 30th video. So all other 29th video contains about the basic statistics for data science and machine learning, then hypothesis testing, and then we started about the prediction modeling with regression analysis, right? So it is in continuation with all those videos. Okay, so if you are watching it for the first time, please go through earlier videos as well, so that there will be a flow which you can be able to grasp, right? All right, then let's begin with today's session, and that is for logistic regression. I don't think my camera should be on anymore. All right, thank you. And let us start understanding logistic regression. So as we have understood the regression analysis, as I said, that when it comes to regression, which means that we need to have the data in numerical or continuous format, whether it is my x or y. And when it comes to analytics, as I said, in analytics there are various different types of analytics we do, right? Well, something like a few examples are one is maybe descriptive analysis, the other one is predictive analysis, the third one is maybe a prescriptive analysis, and so on. So there are a lot of different types of analysis which we can do. So when it comes to regression analysis, we are talking about this predictive analysis. What do you mean by predict, and what are the different regressions in prediction modeling? One we have seen already, linear regression. So we are right now into logistic. Then there is multinomial, nomial regression, ordinal regression, and so on. There are various different types of regression analysis which we can do depending upon how to choose which to use when, depending upon my y. What is y? Y is nothing but my output variable. Y is nothing but my output variable, and obviously x is my input variable. So if my y is having only two options or two categories within it, that is 0 and 1, then I'll go for logistic regression. If my y is something like predict age of a person, or maybe weight of a person, or maybe salary of a person, or maybe mileage of a car, or maybe certain percentage of anything, or maybe temperature, or maybe some other numerical continuous value, then I'll go for linear regression, right? But when my output variable y, because see, salary can be anything, it can range from 0 to infinite. We are talking about continuous data, right? Even weight can range from 0 to infinite, continuous data. Even age, so age of a universe, nobody knows, 0 to infinite, right? So these are the possibilities, extreme possibilities I am talking about. But then these variables comes under the continuous data type, and that is why when my input variable, when I say that regression has to have the continuous variables, then if my output variable is such type of variable, then I will go for linear regression. But when my output variable is something like yes or no, predict between yes or no, whether temperature will go up or down, whether whether a student is going to be pass or fail, whether an event will occur or not. So only two possible values a y variable can have, okay, then I'll go for logistic regression. Obviously x can be single, multiple, it depends. So if x is single, I'll go for simple logistic regression. If x is multiple, I'll go for multiple logistic regression. But the difference between logistic regression and all other regression is, whenever I have the output in two categories, I'll go for logistic regression. Then what are the different methods under logistic regression? So number one is binary logistic regression. Number two is nominal logistic regression. Or I can have ordinal logistic regression depending upon how many categories my y is having. So if my y is having two categories or two output possibilities, then I'll go for binary logistic regression. If my y is having three or more categories, then I will go for nominal logistic regression. And if my y is having three or more categories again, then I have another option to go for ordinal logistic regression. Then what is the difference between these two? Because this one we have understood, which we are going to study today in detail. But what are these two different types where the condition is same, three or more categories, but there is one more condition attached to it. When I go for nominal logistic regression, the categories with no natural ordering has to be there. So something like food is crunchy, mushy, crispy. There is no natural order to it. Or maybe colors. A color can be green, red, blue, orange, something like this. So if this color is my y variable, my output, I want to predict that for the given observation which is going to be the color. Then in such case I'll go for nominal logistic regression, because the y variable is a nominal variable. The response variable is a nominal response variable. If I have binary response variable, I go for binary logistic regression. And if I have a natural ordering to it in my y variable, then I'll go for ordinal logistic regression. So what are the examples of natural ordering? Something like first class, second class, general, sleeper. These are the coaches of railway. Or maybe we can have another example when we do the surveys. So survey can have, if the survey we are making on a shirt material, so the people may have choices, something like strongly disagree, disagree, neutral, agree, strongly agree, something like this, right? Maybe good, very good, ultimate, or maybe excellent, something like this. So there is a natural order to it. So if my y variable is having such kind of categories, then I will go for ordinal logistic regression. So in logistic regression there are three different methods: binary, nominal, and ordinal logistic regression. So now let us understand. So we are going to understand the binary logistic regression in this session. So in binary logistic regression, again there are two different types. One is simple logistic regression and one is multiple logistic regression. So if my data is carrying only one x variable, I will go for simple logistic regression. Or if there are multiple x's available, then I will go for multiple logistic regression. But then let us understand how does this binary logistic regression work. So basically it models or it predicts, the model of logistic regression predicts the probability associated with each dependent variable category. This category, dependent variable category, is nothing but my 0 and 1, which is nothing but my either yes or no, up or down, whatever values the variable is carrying. So if yes is associated with 0 and no is associated with 1, then where I get the probabilities as an output of logistic regression, okay, so these probabilities I assign to either 0 or 1, and then I will get a respective association depending upon if yes is associated with 0, then that output will be yes. If the no is associated with 1, then the output will be no. So it depends on what is my association. I can also associate 0 to no and 1 to yes, 0 to no and 1 yes to 1. That is also possible. So this assignment can be vice versa, right? And how does it work? So it will first find a linear relationship between the independent variable, which is nothing but my x, and the link function of the probabilities. So what is that link function? We will see, right? So what happens? First it find out the relationship, the linear relationship between the x and y, and it builds a equation which is Similar to our multiple linear regression equation or model, that is y equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 plus beta 3 x3 plus epsilon, if suppose there are three input variables. If single input variable is there, if simple logistic regression I have to write a model, then y equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x plus epsilon. This is going to be my model. Now what happens over here, as we have seen that it gives probability as an output. This model predicts the probability associated with the output variable. So probability is a continuous variable, or you can say over here, if suppose my x's, as we have seen that we have to convert, if suppose there are categorical x values available or discrete x values available, then we have to convert it into the dummy variables. Or as we know that when we write a regression model, any regression model, because regression only understand the numerical values, so all my x's has to have a numerical value, or my betas, all my beta values are also numerical values. So when I perform this equation, what I will get? I will get y as a numerical outcome. And obviously, because my logistic regression gives me the probability, probability is also a continuous data type. So when we get a number over here, we have to put this number, right, into the link function, which is this. We have to put means we don't have to do it manually. When we write a model, it internally works it in this way. So whatever numerical value the y has got initially after writing the linear regression model with respect to x and y, whatever outcome the y has got, that y will be put in over here and we will get the probability as an outcome. So this is called a link function. Probability equal to e to the power y divided by 1 plus e to the power y, where e is a real number constant, the basic of natural logarithm, and it equals to 2.7183, and y is a response value for an observation, which we have got it over here, response value, right? So this is how we get the probabilities. So this is how the linear model will put the relationship between x and y, and then the link function will give us the probabilities as an output. So if we plot those probabilities, okay, so we get this logistic regression curve, which is also called as sigmoid curve. So whatever outputs, whatever probabilities as an output we have got, so we know probability always range between 0 and 1. That is, either we can have 100% probability or we can have 0 probability. So when we plot them and get this sigmoid curve, what we have to do is we have to convert the probabilities into either 0 or 1 based on the cutoff value. So what is important over here is nothing but my cutoff value, and the default cutoff value is 0.5. So any probability for any observations which is greater than 0.5 will be assigned. So because probability greater than 0.5 means the observations predictions are lying over here. So all these outputs will be converted into 1 as a category, and all these outputs for the observations will be converted into 0 as a category, and I get 2 different classes for all the categories. So any probability above 0.5 will be converted into one class, and any probability below 0.5 will be converted into 0 class. So if my yes is associated with 1 and no is associated with 0, all those observations which have got these probabilities are telling us that the prediction for those values will be yes, and all those observations and vice versa. All those observations which has given us these probability values are telling us that for those inputs the prediction is going to be no. Now this yes and no are just an example. Here you can have any other two different values, right? Like blood pressure will go up or down, a student may pass or fail, something like that, right? So this is how logistic regression works. Now let us understand few of the assumptions about logistic regression. So as we have seen assumptions about multiple linear regression, so there is we have seen there are 4 different assumptions, right? The parameters has to be linear, or the model has to be linear with the parameters. Then we have seen the assumptions about the errors, we have seen the assumptions about the input variables, that is predictors, and we have seen the assumptions about the observations as well. Similarly, there are simple but very important assumptions for logistic regression also are there. So number 1, only one outcome is possible per event, right? Like pass or fail, only one outcome is possible. You cannot have 2 outcomes. The outcomes are statistically independent. All relevant predictors are in the model. So if there are 150 different input variables, out of which maybe, so we have seen this, how to choose the variables as well, right? So variable selections, so forward selection, backward selection, we have seen it in last video. So if there are only 15 variables out of 150 variables which are relevant, then we have to take all those relevant variables into input variables, that is predictors, into the model. One category at a time means mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, right? Mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So if I am having a logistic regression with nominal or categorical output variable, something like there are so if we toss a coin, then there are 2 possibilities, right? Either head or tail. So this is a binary product or a binary output, right? But if we roll a die, then we have 6 possibilities, 6 different categories, 1 to 6 are possible. So when we say mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive, which means that we cannot have any other value than this as an output. Okay, that is the meaning of it. Sample size are larger than the linear regression. Sample sizes in logistic regression will be always larger than whatever we need for linear regression. Why? Because there is nothing like transformation is available over here, because you can have either your x, if suppose you are having x1, x2, x3, x4, and if suppose this is becoming irrelevant, or this is not giving me a nice beta value, right? So maybe this is beta 2. So if it is not significant, then what I have to do is I have to delete this variable. In linear regression, what we could have done, if the beta is not significant, then we can transform this value. But here we cannot use the transformation techniques in logistic regression, and that is why only deletion is possible, and that is why there is a possibility that your data may reduce significantly, and that is why we need larger sample sizes over here. And what are the steps involved in logistic regression? Collect and organize sample data, formulate logistic regression model, check the model's validity, determine probabilities using probability equation, and compile the results. All these 5 steps let us understand one by one. Okay, so let us first take a case study of simple linear regression, simple logistic regression. As we have said that the conditions are y has to be discrete in 2 categories. This is compulsory. X can be single and X can be multiple as well. Right? But as we are looking into simple logistic regression, so we are talking about single X. So if I am having a single X and if it is a continuous, then it is okay. If I am having a single X and if it is a discrete, then again, like in multiple linear regression and simple linear regression, we have seen that if we have a discrete X, then we have to create the dummy variables. So creating a dummy variables means assigning 0, 1 values to it, which we have seen already in our earlier videos. So now when we assign the 0, 1 values to this discrete variable, what happens over here? We cannot use transformation on this. This is what I was explaining over here. And that is why we require larger sample sizes. Because all my X's, if suppose this is my discrete variable, if I convert it into zeros and ones, then I cannot use the transformation on it. Right? So these are the prerequisites for simple logistic regression. Now let us take a case study, a small, very small case study, and then we will stop today's session, and we will see the multiple logistic regression in our next video. So imagine that you are a data scientist at a very large scale integration circuit manufacturing company, and you want to know whether or not the time spent inspecting each product impacts the quality assurance department's ability to detect a designing error in the circuit. Which means this integration circuit manufacturing company is having a quality assurance department, and they are checking the circuits, and now we have to write a model in such a way that this model should be able to detect or check their ability, whether they are able to detect it or not. Okay, so which means that my output variable over here is whether they are able to detect the fault or not detect the fault. This ability check I want to do, and that is why I want to write a logistic regression model. Right? So what is my data over here? So let us collect the data. So there are some number of observations, and the data has been given as error identification, whether they are able to detect it or not detect it, and they have given us the time, how much time they take to detect or to not detect. So there are total 55 observations given to us of the circuit with errors basically. So this with error is very important over here. See, being a data scientist, whenever a data is given to us in this way and business problem is given to us in this way, we have to make sure to read between the words, read between the lines, and understand the business problem very well. Now here the statement is saying that the data is for the defected circuits, because circuits are with error. The data given to us for those circuits which are having the errors. And now we have to determine whether those errors were detected by the QA. So let us see the data. Okay, give me just 1 second. All right, so we have discussed the business problem. Now let us see the data for this. So these are the 55 observations given to us. Okay, 1 to 55 for the circuits, and this is the inspection time, and this is the error detection. Yes is equal to 1 over here and no is equal to 0. So the person who has spent 38 minutes in the inspection is able to detect the error, because all the 55 circuits are having the errors which is given in the data to us, right? The person who has spent 24 minutes of time in detecting the error is not able to find out the error. The person who has spent 30 minutes is able to find out. The person who has spent 31 minutes is not able to find out. So there are quite interesting data over here, right? Now with given this data, as we know, it is called as historical data. Now with this data we are going to write a model. My model is going to look like y equal to beta naught plus, because there is only one variable, one input variable, so it will be beta 1 x. So what is my x over here? The inspection time, IT. And what is y? The detection, error detection, either 1 or 0. So when I write this equation, and as we have seen in simple linear regression, multiple linear regression, we get, after writing the model, in model summary we get the beta values. Okay, so this is just an illustration through the PPT. So when I have written this model with this data, I got something like this. So this is my beta naught and this is my beta 1, and obviously x is my inspection time. So I can take any inspection time from this data, put it over here and check what is the y value I am getting, and after that I will put that y value into the link function to get the probability. This is how logistic regression works. And when I say I have to do all this, means model does it basically. We don't have to do it manually, right? So let us formulate the logistic regression model, step number 2. Okay, the logistic regression equation is derived from any statistical software, is going to give us this value as beta naught, beta 1, and here I have to put the input value. Now let us check the model's validity. That is my step number 3. So it involves the performance of hypothesis testing and validations. So if you see the table behind below this, okay, this is my model summary, and this is my beta naught and this is my beta 1 value, and if you look at the probability value, which is the first parameter we check immediately, and it should be less than 0.05, which it is, because it is 0 only, which means that both the coefficients are significant. And what is the interpretation of this 0? The important thing about the table is p value is 0.0, which is less than alpha value 0.05. This indicates that regression coefficients are not 0, which means these coefficients are not 0. And there is a significant relationship between the independent variable inspection time and the dependent variable error detection is there. And because of this, we can use both these coefficients to finalize our model. So now let us see how to determine the probabilities using the probability equation, which is the probit function, that is p equal to e to the power y divided by 1 plus e to the power y, where e is 2.7183. So if I take that equation over here, y equal to minus 9.94645 plus 0.328827 into x, the same equation we have put it over here. And if I take any inspection time, let us say 40, so there is inspection time 40 over here, and there are some other places, maybe it is possible it is there, or if it is yeah, it is here. You can have multiple inputs with same values, right? So if I put it like this into this equation, I am getting this value, right? Now this value, my model internally is going to put into this function to get the probability, to give me the probabilities. So if you put it like this, I'm going to get 0.9611, which is nothing but 96.11% is the probability for these two observations. Now what is the interpretation of this probability? So probability 96.11% indicates that the error will be detected if the QA spent 40 minutes of inspection during an observation. Which means, in other terms, or in other words, there is 96.11% chance that if a person spends 40 minutes, then he can detect the error. Or detecting an error by the person who is spending 40 minutes, the chance is 96.11%. So for all these observations, when we get these probabilities and if we plot it like this, then we get such a curve. So you can see here for 40, it is coming somewhere here, which is 96.11. If someone is spending more than this, then it is reaching 200%. And if someone is spending less than 20, then it is reaching to 0%. So if I put my cutoff value at 0.5, any observation which has given me these probabilities belongs to 1. That is, there is a chance that a person detect or identify the error. For all those observations where the probabilities given by our model are lying in this zone, will be assigned to 0, that there is no chance, even though there is 32% chance, suppose, for this observation. But then, because we have to have only two possible options, that is whether to detect, whether the person will detect or will not detect, so we have to assign it either to detect or not detect by 1 and 0. Because in the data 1 has been given to yes and no has been given to 0. If had it been vice versa, then you would have got all these observations falling in this zone and all these observations falling in this zone, right? So it doesn't matter that which category you assign to 0 and 1. Alright then, once we have compiled the result, we have got it like this. For all these inspection times, I mean, we have taken some of the observations. These are the probabilities. Now if you see here, the person who has spent 24 minutes, there is this is the chance he can detect the error. And the person who has spent 28 minutes, this is the chance that he can detect the error. Whereas a person who has spent 32 minutes, this is the chance he can detect the error. Now obviously this observation belongs to 0, this observation belongs to 0, this observation belongs to 1, because I have assumed that my cutoff value is 0.5. So anything above 0.5 belongs to 1, anything below 0.5 belongs to 0. Right? So this is how logistic regression work, and this is a small example we have taken with a simple linear regression. This example, simple logistic regression, sorry. This example deals with simple logistic regression model with one dependent variable and one independent variable. And whatever rules, assumptions, methods, procedures we have seen, everything same, similar will apply to multiple logistic regression, except this equation will become now, instead of y equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x, the equation will become y equal to beta naught plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2 and so on, beta n xn. Okay, so that particular example of multiple logistic regression we will see in our next session. I thank you very much all of you for joining today's session. I hope you all of you have liked it, and if you have liked it, please hit the like button, and those who have not subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe the channel so that you will be following up with all the upcoming next videos which will be learning videos. And if you have not liked the Facebook page, please do like it, so that from there also you will get the notifications of all the new upcoming videos, right? And if you are not connected with me through LinkedIn, so please do send me LinkedIn connections, so that I will accept them, and we will be in touch for the further discussions. Alright then, keep safe in this current scenario, and I wish you all the best. Thank you very much for joining. Bye bye.